Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
And here we go again.
We got a big one here. We got a 7.7, and New Zealand issues a tsunami activity warning after that 7.7. There's been some pretty big aftershocks as well. So this is near the Loyalty Islands, by the way. So they expect New Zealand's coastal areas to experience strong and unusual currents and unpredictable surges at the shore. Multiple areas in the north of New Zealand's North Island have been deemed under threat, and the public has been ordered to stay away from the beaches and the shore areas. That's got to be kind of scary to get that warning.
Well, I'm so glad they have the warning to give.
Very, very true. And, in Wilmington, which was one of my favorite places to live, North Carolina, you see these like tsunami warning signs up, and when you first see them, they could be a little bit freaky.
Yeah, I don't know if I would take one and put it on my door if I'm that naughty or not.
Oh, don't say that. You're going to get us in trouble now. The way this world is, you can't even say anything in jest.
That's true. Sorry.
So you see the area here that we're keeping an eye out for. So they say really the waves might only be like 1 to 3 feet. So, but still, you could still end up getting some riptides and all. This was a really big quake, and as you see, this was just 20 minutes ago. A little update, but basically we're still waiting to see. This is a developing situation, and as we said, they do expect up to about a meter size waves for Vanuatu and Fiji. And there was a couple aftershocks that were of 6.1 and 6.0 as it's reloading here. And reloading away from the area we wanted to go to, but you could see right here that big red dot and all the other ones. So yeah, we have 2 more since I looked last as far as the aftershocks. Here is the 7.7, and we can see there's the 6.1, 5.1, 5.1, 5.2, 5.0, 5.6, 5.2, 6.1, 5.7, 6.0. So you get 3 6 plus aftershocks. That's really a huge quake. 7.7.
Yes, it is. Those are the earth changes we were just talking about the other day. Is this more of that?
Yeah. Do you want to share what you were dreaming about last night?
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. We were driving in the truck and then like driving along this bumpy road, and all of a sudden the truck started to move differently, and we looked outside and we saw the mud kind of coming at us, and the truck was kind of going up on this wave of mud, and then we were like riding the mud. It was horrible.
Yeah. So visions of a mud flood in your dream. Now you said maybe that was past life you were feeling, sort of imprinted into the modern scenario with our truck.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what I really want to believe is past life. I don't want to think something like that could happen this life.
No, though, out where we are, it does get to be kind of mud floodish at times. It gets pretty yucky.
And the terrain was like rocky and kind of scrubby and stuff like around here too. So I was just sort of trying to psych myself into saying, no, this this is not this life.
Right? So Sakurajima has erupted again and sent ash 7,000 feet high. We've been talking about all the volcanic activity. It definitely seems to be increasing right now.
It sure does, you guys.
And we've talked about the desert turning into a flood zone, and here you see strong hailstorm hits Abha, blanketing the desert in ice, and this is in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, that's quite a sight for the desert, but it's happening more and more often nowadays, and there's videos here for you to see. Pretty wild scenes.
Yeah, I know. Look at those big balls there. Those could really hurt somebody.
Yeah, massive hail. And by the way, Scotland records coldest night in UK since 2010 as the extreme cold snap continues.
There we go, you guys. More and more and more.
And I was watching this last night and tempted to just talk about this, but figured I'd wait because I've seen these before, mostly over in Russia, where you get exactly what looks like what we've seen off the coast of Florida. But it's actually a missile, not a UFO, but people were taking it for a UFO.
Yeah, that looks really, really concerning. I don't like it, UFO or otherwise.
I think it's more ominous to see the missiles because this is like a Trident missile.
Yeah.
And people were abuzz talking about this. Strange object lit up the skies above Florida. Wild speculation across social media about whether 2021 would be the year aliens made contact with the Earth. Disclosure. Well, I mean, they made contact so long ago. It's, as we've talked about, it's probably time to cover some of the more ancient stuff again. I know a lot of people have seen, countless shows of ancient aliens where you could see that it's all over the globe. The stories of these beings in the sky, as we've talked about, the Vedas, the Puranas, and not just that, but like we were talking about Odin,
Yep.
your mom, because we have so many ravens that fly by us in this area, and we just say, "Hey, Odin," we just kind of joke about it, because it's like the sign of Odin. Odin wasn't a seer, and some of the quote unquote gods are really celestial deities, and then others, I feel, were flesh beings on the planet. Not necessarily Homo sapiens sapiens, but perhaps, from either leftover Atlanteans that survived with advanced technology, or perhaps, some from the sky. I mean, they even called them sky people. I mean, how much more obvious do you need to get? Where in some traditions they were called the sky people.
Yeah, right. There's just so much data out there about these beings.
Yeah, and I think really what it is the only people that have an issue with there being life elsewhere is people that are very, very fundamentalist in belief system and have had that so stamped into their minds that the Earth is the center of the universe. We were created by an all-powerful deity in that deity's image, and they can't view like just we could still view it that way, and it's the eternal spirit that lies within every single living thing that is that image, right? So it's all how you take it, but you have to recognize the control of the church, which was all about controlling mind, body, and beliefs, so that people would be terrified to go against anything the church said, because then you would burn in hell forever if you believed it.
Right. Then it goes against your whole belief system, and then it goes against the ego, and you're just too scared to believe anything else.
Exactly. So this was, another one of those spiralish type things, and this was apparently it was a Trident launch. Which again, it's a test of the Tridents. Those are intercontinental ballistic missiles. That's what we would see go up in the air if there ever was a WW3 and it was an all-out melee. So in some ways, this is more disconcerting to me.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Yeah. So this was visible from the Bahamas to northern Florida. So yeah, this. Why are they testing this? And as we said, it seemed like there was so much of a ramp up as we finished the year. I'm really trying to be careful with what we say, because no matter what we say, we get hammered. Even when we don't say something, you still get hammered. Like, whoa, you must have intended to say something like that. So then you'll get a little wiki link up there. It's crazy the way the shape of the world is right now. And this one right here, this video is from Hollywood Beach, Florida. So we were feeling that ramp up, and it hasn't eased on the global scene. Hasn't eased. And by the way, a Chinese spacecraft enters Mars orbit, joining a ship from the UAE. I didn't even know the United Arab Emirates had a space program, but apparently they do. And, it's interesting because there's 3 U.S. ships that are basically in orbit around Mars that they tell us. And now you have a couple of Chinese, one from the UAE and one from India, all up there in orbit. I wonder when they're going to just, let us know. Oh, and by the way, yeah, there are joint extraterrestrial and human bases under the surface.
By the way, minor details.
That will be coming out. I think it will be coming out pretty soon. And here we see the FBI and the Secret Service are joining on the hunt for the Florida water system suspect who hacked the city's supply and tried to load it with dangerous levels of a chemical. And this is 15 miles north of Tampa. That's very disconcerting. Very, very disconcerting to see something like this go on. And we're going to finish with a stranded trio on a desert island. Yes,
Wow.
just like, Gilligan.
Just like Gilligan. I wouldn't mind being stranded on a desert island.
Well, this was basically in between Florida and Cuba, and they were off from Cuba when their boat went down. They lived on coconuts for 33 days, so says the Coast Guard, as they got rescued and picked up, and they were thankful for that. There's a lot of small islands off of southwest Florida. There's the 10,000 Islands. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's called, the 10,000 Islands. And I had always thought, in a zombie apocalypse scenario, when I was living in Florida, that's where I'll go. I just make sure that we got a good water catchment system in place, because you could, definitely survive temperature-wise without hardly anything. It doesn't get cold down there at all, just as long as there's no tsunamis coming by or major hurricanes brushing by the area. But there's literally so many islands that you could just disappear down there.
Yeah, most definitely. Then I could just go to a desert island and face my fears.
And, people probably have disappeared down there over the years, and maybe some ended up food for gators, and now pythons as well down there.
Okay, now I'm not going to go.
Okay. So, guys, thank you so much for being part of the family. Make sure you are subscribed, and thank you for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We definitely couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you for your patience with the Vedic charts. Yep. Cindy is still plugging away with those like crazy. And if you need to reach us, set up an appointment. It's EEARTS at Proton Mail or evolutionaryenergyarts at gmail.com. Generally speaking, we could usually get you in within a few days if it's just like an energy or coaching session. If it's a Vedic chart, probably 2 to 3 weeks.
Thanks for your patience.
Yes. As always, guys, have a plan out there. God bless and namaste.
Namaste.